So in today's video, we're going to focus on tapering, race tapering, and a lot of you pose this question, and I'm making the assumption, maybe foolishly, that you are talking about tapering before a marathon. Basically, when you're looking at tapering, you're looking at resting your body up before the big event, before the big race, and it kind of goes back to the whole idea of, training hard, running high mileage at, pretty high intensity, but then backing off and taking an easy day or an easy period to let your body recover, adjust, and kind of super compensate to reach a higher level of fitness, to reach a higher level of performance. And the same idea kind of applies to tapering, and basically, as my college coach would always say, if you're 1% overtrained, you're screwed. But if you're 1% undertrained, if you're right at 99%, you're basically golden. That's where you want to be. So even 90% fitness would be better than being 1% overtrained, because if you're overtrained, you're going to shoot yourself in the foot, and it's going to negatively affect your race performance. So with that in mind, tapering before marathon is a big deal, and you could really increase your chances for success by the way that you taper, and I think that's why people pose that question, because it's so important to your performance. Basically, I'm going to go with what Fitzinger says on this, and if you don't know Pete Fitzinger, he was a Cornellian, and he ran in the 1984 and 1988 Olympics in the marathon. He knows his stuff. I have 2 of his books, and basically in his book, actually I'll pull it up here, Advanced Marathoning, which he has a good plan in there, he talks about the taper, and he says, anywhere between 2 weeks to 3 weeks out from your marathon race, that is the tapering period. And I agree with him mostly there. I'd say, the last 2 weeks before your marathon race, you got to be focusing on tapering. And what usually comes with tapering is kind of an individual thing. It's not going to always be the same for everyone. I don't like it when people say you have to follow this cookie-cutter plan, because a lot of it's based on your training age, how long you've been running, at what level, and if it's your first marathon or your 20th marathon, there's a huge difference there. So you have to look back on what you did in the past maybe, and what kind of mileage you've been running, because that'll affect your taper a little bit. And so I don't want to give you any specific numbers that you say, okay, I have to cut my mileage back by this amount, but I will say, as a general rule of thumb, you're going to want to cut your mileage back, and anywhere between 20 to 50%, you're going to want to cut it back. I'd go with the happy medium of about 30%, but obviously if you're running 20 miles a week, it's not going to be as drastic of a cutback. It's a lot different compared to if you're running 100 miles a week. But general rule of thumb, to put some numbers out there for perspective, if I was running 100 miles a week, I wanted to taper in the last 2 weeks, I might taper back to 80 to 70 miles a week in the last 2 weeks. Whereas someone who's running 50 miles a week, maybe they taper down to 35 to 30, which is a little bit of different percentage cut, but the same idea is there. You want to taper your mileage. That being said, along with the mileage taper comes a difference in the volume of the intense workouts that you do, and maybe even the overall density, the frequency of the intense workouts that you've been doing. So depending on your marathon training plan, what you've been doing over the last several weeks, over the last several months, this taper phase is really going to be a distinct difference. And basically I'd start working backwards from race day, and you say, okay, I got, my race is probably on a Saturday or Sunday. I'm going to count back, the day before the race, maybe I won't run, or maybe I'll just run 3 or 5 miles really easy. The day before that, I'm going to run easy and short, just 1 run. The day before that, 3 days out, I'm going to run a pretty short, easy run. 4 or 5 days out from the race, we're counting backwards here, I would do my last workout. And for that last workout, the general consensus is to be doing some sort of marathon race-paced effort. And it could be pretty short. It doesn't have to be very far. In the past, I've had a lot of success just going to the track in my racing shoes at the same time my race is going to start at in the morning, eating the same thing for breakfast, and just going out without warming up even, and running a 5K at goal marathon race pace. And sometimes you don't feel very good, sometimes it feels sluggish, but that's okay. That's what you want to practice, locking into that pace, and just you know, getting your heart rate up a little bit, and just kind of maintaining all the fitness that you've been working on up to that point. So, you know, in Fitzinger's book, I think he suggests maybe 2 by 2 mile repeats. So that'll be a little bit more, 4 miles of marathon pace running. And you know, you could crank it down maybe a little faster, half marathon pace. For me, that would be too intense, but for some people, that would be very manageable. Marathon pace would feel too easy. But you don't really want to go that far, and you don't want to be going more than 80% effort. So it's kind of just that last tune-up workout, gets your legs programmed to lock into that marathon pace. And also the important thing when you're looking at doing workouts in the tapering phase is the effect that it has on your metabolism. And John Kellogg in college brought this to my attention, and basically I was questioning, you know, why am I even doing a workout 5 days out, you know, from my race? Like, what, shouldn't I just be running easy? Like, shouldn't I just be resting up? Because I feel like I can't gain any aerobic fitness in that short a period. And he's like, well, you basically want to make sure that your metabolism is still regulated, because your body's so used to running such high mileage, doing, you know, intense workouts. And then all of a sudden, if you just cut back and run easy mileage, low mileage, your metabolism is going to kind of go out of whack, and you're going to be feeling really bloated, and especially if you're carbo loading, you're going to be feeling, you know, sluggish and slow, and you might lose kind of some of that muscle memory that you've been working to develop. So it's more of a maintenance workout, but it's mainly to keep your metabolism revved up so you don't feel too bloated and you don't feel sluggish on race day. Counting backwards from that last workout 4 or 5 days out, we'll put, you know, 3 or 4 more easy days in between there. You really want to spread out your easy running days. And, you know, if you've been running doubles, you could run some doubles on those days, but you're still cutting your mileage back, so it's not really as important. But now we're looking at, you know, 10 to 12 days out, what are you going to do? And I'd say, you know, 10 days out, you want to be doing something substantial still, but you don't want it to be over that effort. You don't want it to be too hard. So a lot of times in Fitzinger's book, he recommends actually doing a VO2 Max workout. And you definitely don't want to go too hard in a VO2 Max workout. Basically, you could be doing a 10K race, 5K road race, but you know, I wouldn't take it very seriously. Any workout, you could just be doing a tempo run. Just anything that's going to be faster than, you know, marathon, half marathon pace would be ideal. And for a tempo run, you know, if you just go out and run 20 or 40 minutes at half marathon pace, or for some of you it might even be closer to 10K pace, that would be a good lactate threshold type of stimulus, a good tempo run. I'd even go more for 20 minutes. In the past, I've done a 10K road race 2 weeks out from my marathon, and it worked out well for my marathon, but my 10K time wasn't that fast, and you don't want to be discouraged by that, and you don't really want to go over 90% effort on that. So as long as you keep it short, as long as you keep it under, you know, 6 miles, 3 to 6 miles would be the rule of thumb there. You could do a VO2 max or a lactate threshold intensity type of workout, and I'd recommend that. It's going to help your legs turn over faster than marathon race pace as well. So you're doing that 10 to 12 days out. It could even be 2 weeks out. I wouldn't do it any closer to your marathon, because you're not going to get any benefits in VO2 max in such a short time frame. It's more of a risk of you know, fatiguing yourself too much, really. So, but then counting backwards from that, 2 weeks out to maybe 2.5 weeks out, you know, I'd do your last long run in that slot right there. And the distance of the long run really depends on your marathon training plan and how high you've gone up to in training, and also your weekly mileage and what percentage of your weekly mileage that long run is. So for a lot of people, they're doing, you know, 16 or 20, 22-mile long runs. Maybe they get, if you got up to a 22-mile long run, for this last long run, you might only want to go 16. If you only got up to 16, you might only want to go about 12. So something, you know, anywhere between 4 to 6 miles less than your highest long run I would do as this last long run, and I'd do it, you know, 2 to 2.5 weeks out. And you don't want to do this long run too hard. You want to do it at a nice, easy, relaxed pace and just kind of feel good on it, because it's more of a maintenance thing. You're maintaining that aerobic fitness and all those developments you got over months of aerobic endurance training. So it's more of just spending the time on your feet, keeping your metabolism in check, and getting ready for bigger mileage taper. I think that pretty much wraps it up for how much I want to talk about tapering in this video. If you have any more questions or comments, feel free to post them below or tweet at me. I'm on Twitter at SageCanada, and I look forward to your comments, and thanks for watching. I appreciate the support.